David M. McClanahan grew up in Victoria, Texas, as the middle child of a blue-collar family.
We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but we always had plenty of food on the table and plenty of clothes.
As a child, his role model was his father, a chemical plant worker who valued education and always demonstrated admirable work ethic.
My dad always worked hard when I was growing up. He'd get home from the plant after working 8 hours, and then he'd start a new job, whether it was helping a neighbor with their car or painting a house or just working in the garden.
McClanahan learned a lot from his humble beginnings, especially from his experience with his paper route, a paper route he inherited from his older brother, and one that lasted 8 years.
We learned how to deal with customers, both ones that were delighted and ones that were not so delighted, ones that couldn't find their paper because they claimed we threw it in the shrub or something like that. It taught me how to budget, and it taught me how to deal with money. So at an early age, I was out there working and always had a little change in my pocket, and which was important for a kid at that age, especially one whose parents had a lot of love and caring, but didn't have a lot of money to give their children.
The skills McClanahan learned helped him during his time at the University of Texas, where he earned a degree in mathematics.
In the summers during college, I worked at a chemical plant, and during the year, I worked part-time, generally at a cleaners or some retail kind of establishment. That didn't fill all my monetary needs, and my mom and dad helped where they could, but they couldn't help me as much as needed. So I had to borrow a fair amount of money. At least it was a lot of money back then. Doesn't sound like much today. But that was a blessing in disguise in a way, because I always worried about how am I going to pay this loan back if I don't get a college education. So it drove me to get a college education. It was the right incentive for me. So maybe it was, like I said, a blessing in disguise.
After graduation and a relentless job search, McClanahan found a job with Houston Lighting and Power.
I was just about the happiest person that you could find. And then when I found out that I was going to make $700 a month, I thought, you can't spend that much money. And I was just elated. Well, once I moved out of my aunt and uncle's house and I had an apartment rent and I bought a car and I had a car note, well, that $700 didn't go nearly as far as I thought it was going to go.
Despite the trend of switching companies every 2 or 3 years, McClanahan stayed with Houston Lighting and Power, now CenterPoint Energy, for his whole career. The secret? Finding challenges in new positions and finding a good group of people to call coworkers.
I was always a little uncomfortable because I never got comfortable in one job, but that's what a challenge is all about. And so I ended up staying the whole career because I continued to be challenged. But just as importantly, it's the people you work with. Employees that I work with over the years are terrific. Employees at what is now CenterPoint. There's not a better group in all of America. You probably hear that a lot, but I believe it. And certainly the culture at the company. High integrity, service-oriented, supportive. It's the kind of place you want to work.
McClanahan also values the importance of giving back to the community and believes any corporation has an obligation to foster good corporate citizens.
You need to support your neighbors. You need to make your communities better. That's where your employees live. But it's also the right thing to do.
And junior achievement, according to McClanahan, is a great way for businesses to get involved.
Junior achievement serves such an important purpose. The free enterprise system, financial literacy, the capital system we have in this country, nobody else teaches that. Junior achievement is providing this wonderful education for our children and grandchildren so this stays alive and that we don't lose what's important. Because that's a big part of what makes America great, the free enterprise system. And if you're not financially literate, if you don't know how to deal with the budget, you're not going to be successful in life.
As a grandfather to 4 young kids, McClanahan is concerned for the future and has a message for young people.
As you can look at me and you can see that you don't have to come from a real rich family to become successful. Secondly, education is really, really important. The reason I got to where I got was because of education. And third, it's hard work. Education isn't enough. You have to put that education to work, and you have to work hard every day. Unfortunately, you don't get to take a day off when it comes to work. And so if you put those together, education and hard work, you can go as far as you want to go.